This video was bang on brilliant stuff. I'll give it a shout out in my next video. I've forwarded it to Malcolm to check out too.
The viewers have spoken.
What an amazing documentary. Thanks for producing it.
Never seen this all tied together so well. Gonna share the heck out of it. Bravo and thank you.
Divine Science is officially a hit.
Amazing stuff, very nicely presented. New sub who can't consume your content quick enough. Great video, dude. Keep at it, you are doing the good work.
You did a great job putting this all together. It's a great overview, goes into amazing depth at times, so it's interesting for the larger swath of people. Well played, sir.
Okay, so I didn't sleep last night because I watched this 3 times and binged the rest of the channel. You have fantastic instincts for piecing concepts together. Almost every section was something I was already familiar with in a different context, and this documentary was the thread connecting them all.
Join us on a journey into a place of hidden knowledge. A place where science is stranger than fiction. Throughout modern history, there have been visionaries who dared to dream beyond the boundaries of conventional science. Inventors who sought to unlock the mysteries of alternative propulsion, anti-gravitics, and the enigma of over-unity energy. Yet, their stories remain shrouded in shadow. Many of these pioneers, their voices silenced, their visions extinguished. Some vanished into obscurity, while others paid the ultimate price. Suppression, it seems, has been a constant companion to innovation. But recently, there's been a glimmer of hope. A new generation of self-taught, open-minded, and independent scientists has emerged. A collective effort to combat the forces that seek to keep humanity in the dark. People like Marco Rodin, whose rediscovery of vortex-based mathematics is nothing short of mind-bending. They pushed the boundaries of mathematical understanding, opening doors to a new realm of possibilities by describing numbers as physical stationary interstitiary vectors in space-time whose values don't change. Unlike traditional mathematics, where numbers change while functions remain constant, this paradigm shift recognizes that in reality, functions themselves can represent the changing variables, opening doors to a new understanding of mathematical relationships. And then there's Malcolm Bendall, a man with a vision that defies convention. He introduced the plasmoid unified model, a concept that calculates the resonant frequencies of everything from the elements to colors, shapes, and even polarized cardinal directions. But Bendall didn't stop at theory. He applied his unified field theory to a revolutionary concept, converting mass into clean energy. His ingenious design mimics nature's use of plasma, producing colossal amounts of pristine energy. Bendall's vision goes beyond energy. It's about reshaping our understanding of the world and harnessing the very forces of nature to propel us into a new era. As Tesla was once accredited as saying, "Throughout space there is energy. Is this energy static or kinetic? If static, our hopes are in vain. If kinetic, and this we know it is for certain, then it's a mere question of time when men will succeed in attaching their machinery to the very wheelwork of nature." In the shadows of suppressed technology, these visionaries are opening doors to a brighter, more sustainable future. The plasmoid engine, a symbol of hope, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of the unknown. Join us as we delve deeper into the mysteries of plasmoids and the brave souls who dare to challenge the status quo. Here on Divine Science. Stay tuned for our brand new show. For more videos on consciousness, zero-point energy, and other forms of forbidden knowledge, like and subscribe to my YouTube and TikTok channels. What are you waiting for? Take the red pill and arm yourself with forbidden knowledge. Subscribe today.
Welcome, everybody, to the Divine Science Director's Commentary Edition. Thank you for joining me here. We will get started momentarily. Alright, dim the lights, grab your popcorn, and let's get started. I will be covering the Hutchison effect in future episodes, along with dustification.
scriptures. This energy is the only thing that comes from
My
the
apologies,
whole,
the mute.
from zero.
I
the
accidentally muted it.
vortex. It goes out linearly in all directions.
This intro took me probably 2 weeks to make.
The Pacific Ocean, about 2,000 miles from the U.S. mainland. Marco Rodin, a young man growing up in Hawaii, with an innate understanding of the world around him, struggled to fit in at school
I tried
because
to
he
get
understood everything a little too well.
Photograph
His
of
dad
young
owned a
Rodin
hotel
here,
chain,
but
and Marco managed a part
I had
of the
to
property
AI
which got
generate
by
the
on its
bottom
own,
half.
giving Marco time to explore and experience the world. He was an enthusiastic reader of various ancient texts.
you'll notice a couple of clever AI tricks that I've played in this
It wasn't until he had a
documentary.
psychedelic experience with acid that he stumbled upon the secrets of the universe. What did Marco see? Vortex-based mathematics. In an instant moment of intense clarity that one can only describe as a direct download to the brain, he had tapped into knowledge of a previously unknown field of energy, and his visions were so clear that he could map this field of energy out mathematically.
I think with the recent results of my Rodin coil, we'll all be listening to
Instantly
Marco a little
realizing
more
the
seriously.
significance, Marco sat down and started decoding the Baha'i scriptures using this realization, and then developed the foundations of vortex-based math. A new way of not just understanding the world, but applying that understanding into a comprehensive theory of math that explains numbers as physical vectors in space-time, instead of random appropriations. This means that the numbers are stationary and don't change. Unlike traditional math, where the numbers change, in VBM the numbers are constant, and the
VBM can get
functions
very
themselves
complex,
represent
but
the
I tried to
changing
simplify
variables.
it as much as possible.
When you think about it, this makes more sense. Functions themselves represent the changing variables in space-time, not numbers. Marco put the work out there to all sorts of researchers, and a few highly credible scientists like Russell Blake took him very seriously. Russell assisted Marco to significantly expand his work.
This part
while
right
mapping
here was
vortex math onto a
scripted,
toroid. They had
not by
realized
me,
Marco
but
stumbled
Jordan
upon a
Collin
perfect
from
3D
Alchemical
system of
Science.
math,
Credit goes
one
to
that
him.
is
Thanks,
completely
Jordan.
different to the linear math everyone already studies. Realizing the errors in the way we traditionally do math, Marco began to understand
Daniel
why
met Rodin.
linear math
Oh,
leads
that's
to
awesome.
irrational numbers
He's a
such
really
as
cool
pi.
guy from what I hear.
With his groundbreaking discovery, you can solve problems involving the length of curves without using pi. To understand, we must first ask the question, why is pi an irrational number in the first place? Pi is used to represent a constant ratio of the circumference of a circle to
So
its
this
diameter.
documentary serves as an
But this
introduction,
linear way of
introductory
arithmetic
material
ignores
to
one
vortex
simple
math
fact.
and the plasma
Nothing in the
unification
universe
model,
moves
which
in a
both,
straight line. Everything
in my
moves on an
opinion,
angle.
paint a bigger
In
picture.
one-dimensional space, this represents a curve. 2 dimensions represents a spiral. 3 a vortex. When we map out pi on a circle with traditional math, we are assuming the circle is occupying a linear 2-dimensional space. However, this is the mistake. Since
Yeah, we
nothing
can
in the
only get, like,
universe is a
20%
straight line, we
far
are essentially measuring a spiral as a
with,
straight line, creating an
our
endless
current
string
math.
of irrational digits to
But with
rectify
VBM, we
the
can go all the
solution.
way.
This is the real reason why pi is an irrational number. In vortex math, there are no irrational numbers. Somewhere in the Indian Ocean, after
Notice I'll go
7
back
years
and
of
forth,
isolation on a remote
kind of
island working on an engine that could
Giving
change
you a
the
break
world,
between two topics.
inventor Malcolm
and then
Bendel
in the
gets ready
end,
to journey to the United
we
States for
discover
the
that
first
they are
time
kind
in
of one
almost
and
a
the
decade.
same.
Due to the pressure to protect his reputation, when Randall Carlson inadvertently outs him on the Joe Rogan podcast,
the other thing is when we talk about these ancient technologies, if we're only looking for a mere reflection of ourselves, we could overlook it completely, because I think there's evidence that exists now, I mean, some modern researchers whose work has been buried or suppressed, I think we're getting very close to rediscovering some of the things that our ancient ancestors were up to. And maybe this would be worth a whole show in itself.
But what kind of technologies are you talking about?
There are people out there now who have been working on trying to rediscover that. And there are people who've been working on these things for decades now, basically in secret. And I've had the privilege of talking to some of these people over the last 6 or 7 years. And right now, as we're speaking, there's a group of people who are basically going to open source a whole lot of stuff in the next 3 months, so it can never get suppressed again. And that's why I'd like to come back and talk in more detail.
Well, I'd love to have you come back and talk about it.
Malcolm Bendel, a scientist with a background in geochemistry,
That
has been
open
developing a
source
comprehensive
method
theory of
is
the
what I
universe
took.
for
I
several
open
years.
sourced everything on the Rodin
The
coil.
plasmoid unification
Day
model,
one.
a unified field theory that calculates the resonant frequencies of everything in the
If anybody
universe.
wants to
However,
attempt
while
to
on the Joe
follow my
Rogan
do-it-yourself
podcast,
guide,
the
it's
producer had
available.
pulled up information regarding a smear campaign against Malcolm, a smear campaign about his spiritual and religious beliefs. A logical fallacy known as the ad hominem fallacy, one where Joe apparently
have some
attacked Bendel's
exciting
character instead of his
news
scientific
in
claims.
tomorrow's presentation
Some of this
regarding
information
my
may have related
conclusions
to
of
stories from
phase
The
1
Shaman,
testing.
an interesting book from author Roland Perry that is loosely based off of Malcolm's life. In this book,
If you
it
haven't
is
read
said
The
that a
Shaman,
scientist
I
named
really
Holt,
recommend
who
it.
is based
It
on
is
Malcolm,
fabulous.
was once a leading pastor and director of a fundamentalist church with Pentecostal roots, the Full Gospel Businessmen's International. In The Shaman, Perry writes that the scientist had helped persuade a woman in a coma to not join her ancestors and come back from the light.
I ministered to the dead in and outside the cafe where Martin Bryant murdered 35 people. One of the victims was in a coma for 5 days. The state governor wanted me to have a look at her. I sat with the woman in hospital for 5 hours. I persuaded her not to go into the light.
Wait, do you mean die?
She had terrible gunshot injuries. Her son had gone over. She wished to be with him. I talked her out of it.
Cavalier was silent for a moment.
I did that with your daughter. She was making her way to the spirits of relatives when I talked her back.
Cavalier felt a chill up his spine. When she made a baffling and astonishing recovery, doctors were left dumbfounded. Let's remind ourselves that ideology and beliefs can change over a person's lifetime. If we were all judged based on past decisions, nobody would come out looking good. That being said, these remarkable claims are not without scientific basis. The Awareness During Resuscitation study, which involved 2,060 patients from 15 hospitals in the US, UK, and Austria, is the largest study to date on out-of-body and near-death experiences.
A lot of mainstream
Researchers
scientists forget
tested the
about this
validity
study.
of conscious experiences using
Or
objective
ignore it.
markers for the first time in a large study to determine whether claims of awareness that corresponded with out-of-body experiences aligned with
I believe
real,
they put
rather
markers
than
up in the room.
hallucinatory events. The research found that the themes around the experience of death were far broader than previously understood, and that experiences such as these have a scientific basis. Malcolm Bendel's plasmoid unification model is a theory that explains the nature of the universe and the interactions between particles. The model proposes that the universe is made of energetic plasma-like structures called plasmoids that can take on different forms and properties depending on their state and environment. These plasmoids interact with each other through a complex web of electromagnetic forces, which Bendel argues are responsible for all the phenomena we observe in the cosmos. From the
There's
behavior
going to
of
be a couple of
subatomic
parts that I have
particles
to
the
mute
motion
out
of
due
galaxies.
to history
According to Bendel,
channels.
the plasmoid unification
strong
model provides a more
copyright
coherent and
rules.
comprehensive framework for
But
understanding
you
the
can find the
universe than
full
traditional models
video
based on
available
matter
on my
and energy
channel.
alone. It has the potential to revolutionize our understanding of physics and cosmology. The mysterious and awe-inspiring universe may finally be revealed by this groundbreaking plasmoid unification model, which suggests that the very fabric of reality is made up of energetic and quasi-stable plasma-like structures that interact with each other through electromagnetic forces, providing an all-encompassing, coherent, and revolutionary explanation for the behavior of particles from the smallest subatomic levels to the vast reaches of our galaxy, potentially unifying gravity with the other fundamental forces of nature.
Again, mainstream
From
science
colors,
cannot
shapes,
tell us
elements,
what a field
and even
is.
polarized cardinal directions.
Cannot tell us what energy
Malcolm discovered
is.
that all elements are plasmoids. Plasmoids are self-contained torus-shaped bits of matter in the fourth state, a state of matter some theorize to be a gateway to zero-point energy,
and understanding.
Zero-point energy, or quantum zero-point
And it really boils
fluctuations in the
down to the
vacuum,
ether.
is the energy that is proven to exist through math. It is the energy that exists at any system's 0 point. When all other energy has been frozen out of an atom, electron spin still does not decay. Where does that energy come from? Fluctuations in the vacuum. Richard Feynman was a renowned American theoretical physicist who made significant contributions to the development of quantum electrodynamics. Feynman once famously said, "One teacup of empty space contains enough energy to boil all the world's oceans." So if the universe contains all this free energy, where is it and how do we access it? That's exactly the question inventors like Malcolm would ask. His comprehensive unification model isn't just theoretical. Bendel successfully applied his theory to a practical working prototype. This prototype can be retrofit on any gas or diesel engine, not only doubling efficiency, but eliminating toxic and harmful greenhouse emissions in the process. This process of cold fusion, which had been suppressed in the replication of the Pons-Fleischmann experiment, produces tiny plasmoid clusters that have the potential to release enormous amounts of energy.
They were kind of forced into this position by a guy called Stephen E. Jones, who was brought in to kind of verify what they were seeming to find by the...
He looks like a
Department of Energy,
Weasley character, doesn't he?
Whether they were actually seeing what they were claiming, which was he kind of gave the name to it called cold fusion.
Knew what he was doing,
Martin
giving him the
Fleischmann
name
and
cold
Pons
fusion.
Really didn't like the idea of that phrase being used. They were very comfortable with it because they didn't really know what it was at the time. And then
way too early to say
various
something
people
like
were
that.
brought in by George Bush Sr. to kind of give a 6-month crash. Can we replicate this? And it's a very famous story.
But look who we have
at
here.
MIT, they
George
doctored
Bush
their data
Sr.
to remove
with
their
strong
own
ties to
findings,
big
to
oil.
try and, paint the fact that
Who would have a
cold
lot of
fusion is
money to
dead.
lose if
And he
cold
blew the
fusion
whistle.
was a thing. Oh, poor
I
baby.
inadvertently was looking through some piles of paper that had been given to me in a casual manner by all these hot fusion physicists as they were trying to do their calorimetric repeat of the Pons-Fleischmann experiment. And to my utter astonishment, I can remember sitting
Great
at my
Tom
desk
Bearden.
in my study and actually seeing these two sheets of paper, one dated July 10th,
No, I'm sorry,
1989,
that is-
and another dated July 13th, 3 days apart.
Eugene
The difference
Malov.
between July 10th and 13th was
Eugene
dramatic.
Malov
And I was stunned. I couldn't
was
believe
about
what I
to
was seeing.
release
It looked like monkey business
at a
to
press
me at the
conference
time,
one
and
of
it
his
has turned out to
devices,
be
I believe,
exactly
before he
that.
was assassinated.
He was a lower echelon person in the Plasma Fusion Center at MIT.
Not mistaken, in the
one of
early
the 16
2000s,
authors of a
2001,
scientific
maybe?
paper done under Department of Energy contract that had altered data. And that data is scientific fraud.
It is estimated that up to 1 kilowatt of power can be released from these charge clusters when they reach their full charge density.
Yeah.
The
yeah,
late
he was
Ken Shoulders
assassinated,
had already proven
beaten to
this
death at his
and filed a
parents' house.
patent for this technology
Made to look like
because it had the
a
ability
robbery,
to do
but the
something
device
remarkable.
he was carrying was gone.
These charged clusters, when radioactive isotopes were introduced, would atomically reconfigure or disassociate these isotopes into non-radioactive isotopes. Essentially what this does is scrub clean radioactive waste
Another mistake,
into
he didn't
harmless
open source
versions
the
of the
technology.
element.
If everybody knew how
However,
it worked, then he
shadowy
wasn't,
figures
he
from the
wasn't a
Department
target.
of Energy demanded the grant be removed. Why would anyone want to suppress this world-changing technology? As it turns out, the reason was that these clusters were accessing the quantum fluctuations in the vacuum. They were successfully channeling zero-point energy.
Say what you will about Stephen Greer, but he
So,
has some really good
just what are
ideas and really
plasmoids?
good science
Seth
behind
Kutterman called it the star in a jar.
interviewing some of these free
Microscopic
energy
ball
device
lightning in the shape of a self-contained imploded
connoisseurs.
sphere. These plasma spheres take on the shape of a torus due to the fact that they collapse in on themselves symmetrically. Plasmoids are found in nature. They are everywhere. These quasi-stable clusters are what give thunderstorms and cyclones their enormous power These same processes for channeling and utilizing plasmoid energy are replicated in the thunderstorm and plasmoid generators, where counter-rotating vortexes collide at specific angles within multiple spheres of specific ratios.
In the quantum physics is your event horizon. What it does, you'll have a positive and negative end, a north pole, south pole, two tornadoes colliding in the middle.
These angles and dimensions Bendel utilizes are not only found in nature, they have been written about in various ancient texts and encoded within ancient architecture for thousands of years. This ancient knowledge can be seen in the Great Pyramids. For example, the angle at which these vortexes must collide to successfully discharge is the same exact angle that is used for the concave on the pyramid wall.
51.84 adds up and reduces to
pyramids were
9.
used to generate power.
Curious.
Ben Van Kerkwijk and Graham Hancock have talked about Egyptian culture being misstated and misunderstood, with two separate dynasties and cultures separated by not only great distances in time, but vast differences in technological achievement.
The technological
No, somebody mentioned a
extends
new
also
site,
to architecture.
and we didn't know if we could trust the link on Discord, so
that can be found
I didn't
in
know
Egypt. On the
he
left,
was actually
we have the
creating a new
massively
site.
megalithic
No.
stone pyramids made up of huge blocks of stone, and on the right, we have the other
I have to
pyramids
skip
that
this
are
next
all
part
over
in a
Egypt.
second.
They're made from mud bricks, and many of them are decaying slowly over the years, and they're starting to fall apart, versus, you know, the stone
The great
pyramids that
Ben
are still standing
Kerkwijk.
and mostly intact.
Then we have Christopher Dunn, an engineer who wrote a book on how this energy could have been harnessed and makes an astonishing connection to Tesla in his upcoming book.
And I came to the conclusion that those granite beams, they had to have actually tuned them to
Dunn's not some quack.
respond
He has
to a particular frequency.
experience
And
in
really, just like
aerospace.
piano strings. If you have
Very,
strike
very good
one
engineer.
and you undampen the
Very
strings,
credible.
another one at a higher octave will resonate. The harmonic of that particular frequency will resonate. It will absorb the energy and respond in sympathy with it. And you can actually transfer energy from this lowest beam clear to the top beam. If each of those beams is tuned to the same frequency or a harmonic of that frequency. And that is what I believe is happening.
It is curious that Tesla once thought the pyramids were also
That's why more
power
people need to
generators of
build the
some sort.
Roden coil.
Perhaps he even based his Wardenclyffe
I'd be
tower
surprised
off
if
this
Greer's
theory of
team's not
capturing the
looking into the
resonant
Roden
vibration
coil.
of
It's
the
very,
Earth and amplifying it within the
easy
King's Chamber.
to manufacture.
The King's Chamber is a room within the Great Pyramid that has a suspicious hollowed-out cavity surrounding it, making it a perfect candidate for a resonant chamber. This setup can create a resonant cavity that amplifies specific sound frequencies. By altering the size and shape of the chamber and cavity, different frequencies or pitches can be amplified. However, the level and quality of the resonance created would depend on various factors such as the materials used and the shape and size of the chambers. This means that the builders had to know the precise dimensions of this cavity before building it. And what do engineers say about precision? Precision is not without function. If we look at architecture and technology, the only time we need precision is when a specific function is required. And what do we see all around these ancient megaliths? From the precisely cut and quarried massive stones to extremely symmetrical and polished pottery made with stone that is near diamond strength. We see evidence of purpose and function everywhere.
To figure 50 years into the king that says
Engine utilizes specific angles. Maybe these pyramids were directing natural airstreams filled with these naturally occurring plasmoid clusters that are more abundant in the air due to an ionization process. We also know that there are unexplained chambers in the pyramid that lead from the outside toward the inner structure. Chambers that don't make any logical sense and have no explainable purpose. Perhaps these chambers capture these energy clusters and redirect them inward to collide at specific angles to generate massive amounts of energy. Whatever the reason for the Great Pyramids, one thing is for certain. These
we will
new
be doing
discoveries
pyramid
are worthy
power
of their own
in
episode.
a future episode of Divine Science for sure.
I'm about to show you the mind-blowing mathematical lens. That is vortex-based
All right,
math.
VBM school, everybody.
Let's lay a couple
Pay
of ground
attention.
rules. First of all, in vortex math, we don't use zero. VBM is all about doubling and then reducing numbers down to a single digit. If you can bear with the arithmetic for a minute, I can teach you the significance of 3, 6, and 9, a mystery that has eluded scientists and engineers for decades. We begin by doubling 1 to get 2. We then double again to get 4, and then again to get 8. Now what does 8 doubled get us? Remember, we reduce the double digit down to a single digit by adding the 2 base components, and we are back to 7.
Post a link
7
to that
doubled gets you
website
14,
from
which reduces
Stephen
back
Greer,
to 5.
if you have a link.
Doubling 5, we get 10, which reduces back to 1. Notice the infinity symbol created. This isn't a random design. The angles and paralleled lines in this diagram all reflect intricately woven relationships that are baked into the fabric of our reality. That is because numbers aren't just utilities for measuring. Numbers actually represent physical vectors in space-time, ones in which the fractals of creation are based on. In that sense, numbers are real. As you can see, numbers reveal the underlying pattern of creation. And everywhere we look, we can see this fingerprint of God. These numbers that form the infinity symbol represent our physical reality and how it interacts with itself. And if numbers represent physical vectors in space, then they must also have properties that can be observed. Let's look a little closer into this. 9 is a significant number because it was discovered by Marco that the number 9 gives the other numbers polarity. If 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, and 5 represent our physical reality, then 3, 6, and 9 must represent this previously unknown form of energy, a magnetic flux field at the quantum level, the 0 point. These numbers are what form our physical reality. This quantum flux field is the source for the non-decaying spin of an electron, the infinite well of radiant energy our universe runs itself on. Pushing this theory further, Marco theorized that everything in the universe is a vortex, from DNA to black holes. It is nature's path of least resistance. This energy permeates everything and will penetrate any material. This leads to everything in the universe being non-linear, not even time. Because the higher dimensions of our brain think linearly to organize our lives in a coherent manner, we perceive time to be linear. So how do we map out this flux field of energy emanating from the physical vector 9? And how do we even know this energy emanates from 9 and gives the other numbers polarity? Remember those patterns I talked about, the ones baked into the fabric of our reality? With this polarity, a mirroring effect happens. In the diagram, we can see every number on one side will correspond to the other side in an equal but opposing way. By doing some simple arithmetic, we can prove undoubtedly that these numbers, these physical vectors in space, all relate to one another in a coherent and intelligent manner. We begin by doubling 9. Vortex math is primarily about doubling and dividing, reflecting the natural processes for creation. Doubling
Advanced
9 gives
BBM
us
is also
18.
about tripling.
Adding the 2 digits gives us 9. We do this again. 18 plus 18 equals 36. Adding these together also gives us 9. It doesn't matter how many times we double this vector, 9 will always double to equal itself. This is the mathematical representation of this 0-point energy's emanation. Let's move on to the number 3. Doubling 3 gives us 6. Doubling 6 gives us 12, which brings us back to 3. Again, we double 12 to get 24. Adding these numbers brings us back to 6. This pattern of back and forth will continue indefinitely, like the pendulum effect of a magnetic flux field. It doesn't matter how many times you double these numbers, they will always oscillate back and forth with the energy that is emanating from the 9th vector. These are the only numbers that
Those are
do
your
this.
physical properties.
It is because this is how vibration and motion occurs. Energy is always in motion and cannot
How
be
else are
destroyed.
numbers able to show
It is the
physical
reason our
properties,
universe
but
is
patterns
constantly in motion, but
baked
never
into
actually
the
going
fabric of our
anywhere.
reality that
An
reflect
infinity, not in direction but in
fractals of
motion.
creation.
The number 9 is the source of this energy. It is the only energy that exists at any system's 0 point. Therefore, it is the highest form of energy in our universe. This is the source of energy Marco is describing, what he saw in his vision. Ancient knowledge lost in time. If you take a look at the layout of Washington, there is a clear pattern that reflects the Masonic symbol.
Some historians believe that
I'll
the
have to make you a
triangle
mod
found in
real
the
quick
center
and
of
repost
Washington,
it.
D.C. represents the Masonic symbol of the square and compass.
This makes sense when most of the founding fathers were Freemasons. However, if you make the connection to vortex math and look closely at where the Washington Monument is located, where the zero is, this is the 0 point, the point where Marco Rodin theorized cosmic energy radiates out of.
These monoliths were made out of granite. And
Now
there's
this
some quartz
Masonic
inside the
connection,
granite.
I haven't seen
And
anybody
quartz
else
has
make this
some rather
connection.
interesting
I had to make
properties,
this connection
like
myself,
the
but
piezoelectric
I wasn't
effect.
basing it off of
If I
anybody.
take quartz crystal
I just saw a
and I
picture of,
squeeze
you
it,
know, the
I
fingerprint
can
of
generate
God
electricity.
in
Now,
Washington,
Some
D.C.
people believe that the
He
obelisks
made a
were
connection
like
with the
lightning
obelisks,
rods that
and I'm like,
absorbed
wait a
electrical
second.
energy from the heavens.
Could the Egyptian obelisks have been designed to attract energy? In addition to the conductivity of quartz stone, it has been found that when the obelisks were first erected, they were capped with a naturally occurring metal alloy called electrum.
We know that they were covered or capped in many cases with electrum, which is a combination of gold and silver, and they may have been meant to attract plasma, electrically charged particles.
Is this new connection to mysticism and symbolism, the smoking gun regarding obelisks being transmitters or receivers of some kind of radiant energy? Whether the connection is metaphorical or practical, these new connections could finally lead us to answer the age-old question, just who are the Freemasons in the larger picture of history? Instead of using the conventional approach of mapping VBM to a hypercube, Rodin adopted a unique method of mapping his mathematics onto the surface of a hypersphere. While a hypersphere and a toroid are distinct shapes, it is possible to visually represent a four-dimensional hypersphere in three-dimensional space using a toroidal shape through a technique called stereographic projection.
This is stereographic projection. This is a sculpture that illustrates stereographic projection. Stereographic projection is a map from the sphere to the plane. And the way that it works is you look at the north pole of the sphere, and you draw straight lines from the North Pole down onto the plane. And if you arrange the light at the North Pole, then the light rays effectively do stereographic projection, and these curves on the sphere are mapped to the straight line grid on the plane.
This allows for a 3D visualization of the hypersphere's properties and is commonly used in mathematics and physics. In mainstream mathematics and computer science, higher dimensional objects are often mapped onto hypercubes or other geometric shapes to facilitate visualization. However, Rodin's approach was unique in that he utilized a method of mapping his mathematics onto the surface of a hypersphere rather than a hypercube, allowing for a more intuitive representation of the underlying geometry, the geometry of the universe itself.
And this shape here is called, yes, we know it's a donut, but in science they don't call it that. Torus, T-O-R-U-S, or tori means multiple toruses. Our body was named after it. What's our body called? A toroid, human torso, T-O-R-S-O. You know what that means? It means you're getting put through the grinder. Because that hole is a tor, it means it's a hole. And it means that everything is either imploding into that hole or exploding out the other side. And if you don't have that hole, you're toast, because it's always in and out. Compression, decompression, implosion, explosion. And it's doing something else. It's thermal. It's about heat dissipation, which is the very foundation of all physics and astrophysics, because this is modeling a black hole. And nothing goes through the hole in the center, or the hole wouldn't exist. See this red line? Spirals and defines the hole by being an aperture, like our eye. Because there's something, I believe, emanating in this hole that's causing this hole to not close. Okay, and that's what I'm harnessing, and that's what I found.
In Rodin's sequence 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, and 5, each number is related to the previous one in a cyclical fashion.
in a hologram, the whole is in the part's in the whole. Doesn't matter which you take image in this explanation. I'm laughing because I'm thinking how extraordinary it is what you're seeing there. There's no words to describe the miracle of putting those numbers into place and seeing the donut from different perspectives. You have no idea how big of a deal this is.
The sequence has a fractal-like structure with self-similarity, meaning that if you zoom in or out on the pattern, it will always look the same. By using this cyclical property, it's possible to design technology in a way that takes advantage of the repeating pattern to achieve greater performance without adding more resources.
The Mobius circuit, the superfluid preferred longest mean free pathway of least resistance for electrical superconductivity always follows this bounded infinity circuit. You start with one God, one universe. It doubles, becomes two. That's Gabriel's trumpet. 4, because the B is not a bilineal stop. It's a plosive. So when I say the most great name of God, I don't say, which is the Baha, means glory, in Arabic, Aramaic. It's a loan word out of Arabic to the Farsi language. It's in the Bible, it's in the Torah, it's in the Quran, it's in Buddhism, it's in everything. And the superlative case of Baha, which is the higher case, the highest, is called Abha. And that translates to splendor, wondrous, or glory. That's the heavenly world. And I had to learn all this math to help me understand that.
Engineers, pay attention to this part.
So what happens is 1,
very
2,
important.
4, 8, 16, 32, 64, but I'm back to where I began. So why is the I Ching 64? Why is it the $64,000 question? Not because 8 times 8 is 64. We thought it was. Why? It's because it's one complete cycle of infinity. And it's not infinity of a straight line direction, it's infinity of a spin continuum. It's infinity of duration. So 64 doubles 128, but 1 plus 2 plus 8 equals 11 is 2. 256 equals 13 is 4. 512 equals 8. 1024 equals 7. 2048 equals 14 is 5. There's only 6 numbers in infinity before it repeats. So infinity isn't infinite. It's a bounded infinity, like the electron orbital. That's a big deal. I'm taking the binary code, which is doubling, and I'm saying I can turn conventional computers, I'm taking this back to how to make a supercomputer, and I can take that binary code and I can say, I'm not interested in how many transistors I can pack into the smallest processor I can make. I'm interested in cycling, how many times I go around. I'm interested in making a track for computer logic processors. Everybody today, we're making computers that are using the binary code. Nobody knows how to use the 396-693 to do calculations yet in a supercomputer. No one knows that you can't have the binary code without the 396-693. I'm telling every computer scientist that you don't even have the whole picture yet. That's unbelievable. That there's another pattern, number pattern, in calculating that is indispensable to these calculations, which is the 396. So if I go from
our current math gets us 20% of the way. VBM will get us all the way.
You can't leave the
100%.
train track. You're on a rail. But what happens with this?
If we could do everything we've done with just 20%,
convey to you that it's a higher dimensional flux field, because
imagine what we can do with
as I had to
VBM,
learn, you're now having to learn.
enabling
This
us
was
to
taught
do
me by
100%.
Scott, who was my mechanical engineer, chief. Every coil has an associated magnetic field with it, except it's not just magnetism, it's spirit and magnetism. The field is magnetism, the flux is spirit. It's a flux field. So, spirit is irresistible, penetrates everything, and is the source of all motion, vibration, and time. I have found a numerical formula for spirit. I know when and where spirit is in 3D space, and more importantly, I know where it's not. Okay, so spirit has a phasing, it has an activation sequence, it has a timing, and there's a numerical formula for it. So what am I doing? I'm getting rid of calculus, I'm getting rid of equations, or I'm giving them numerical equivalence, because calculus is never any better than the person speaking it, whereas numbers are a part of our world. They're a part of creation. They have attributes, they have physical properties, and they have a timing. The relationship to geometry or to tiles or to tempo and timing is an inherent part of this discovery. So spirit is also called prana, chi, tachyon, monopole, dark energy, dark matter. It's also called soliton, Higgins, God particle. It's what everybody wants right now. It's what the big race is that everybody's looking for. I've elected to use the term they use in the scriptures, which is spirit. I could easily substitute any other name for it.
This opens up new possibilities for creating technologies that are more energy efficient, smaller, and faster, potentially making current technologies obsolete. The traditional linear approach in engineering is based on the concept of adding more resources, such as more transistors or more power, to increase the speed and capacity of a system. However, the cyclical approach in vortex math is different. Rather than adding more resources, this approach focuses on increasing the efficiency of a system by exploiting its inherent cyclical patterns. By utilizing engineering in this fashion, you are choosing the path of least resistance for both the programming language and electrons flowing through the hardware. Marco believes that the energy flow in the universe is a result of a continuous geometric progression that starts from the singularity at zero and expands outward in a spiral motion, following a specific pattern called the Rodin coil. In vortex math, the number 9 is considered to be a very special number because it is the highest single-digit number and contains within itself all other numbers.
That's where the missing zero is. Only 9 lines up over 0. Unless you're the
Mike.
finest, and my students are
Thanks
the
for joining
finest
us.
of the finest, bar none. Okay, they come from Microsoft.
This is one of my favorite parts. Marco, whenever Marco speaks, it's just
weapons manufacturer in the
you're so
world. Everybody
captivated with what he has to say.
If they want to be a master of their technology. What I'm about to explain is just one thing. That 9 lines up over that 0 vertically, but no other number lines up over anything else vertically. Everything else lines up horizontally, except nothing lines up with the 0 either. So this is the relationship of how nothing creates everything, how the universe was brought into being. So I claim to know the secret of the 3, 6, and 9, and that's a family number group, but when I'm using it, it's palindrome 396. 9 always comes in the middle of 3 and 6. 3 and 6 are always on the outside, and DNA follows this pattern. And if you can follow it, 3 and 6 is magnetic, 9 is spirit. They're inseparable. Only magnetic fields can respond fast enough to give slippage and free play to spirit. And when spirit's going forward, the magnetic fields are going in the reverse direction. But I had this when I was a teenager. I did not know that the 396 was that red dotted line. When I had that as a teenager, I didn't have it correct. I had that as a solid line. You can see how it's the same angle and the same ratio? You see this waveform in the circle? See this waveform in the circle? Because I took the most great name of God, the equation, out of the scriptures, which is the 2 and the 5 connecting to the 1, because that's in Arabic is the B. That's the H is the 5. I'm not using the English order of the letters. I'm using their original scriptural language. Why? Because they say the prophets deliberately revealed it in those languages because they said those languages, the sound embodies the essence of what it's describing. They said it was a spiritual language. So I was going by their rules. Hey, I'm not a prophet. I'm an adherent. I'm trying to learn what they're teaching, okay? I'm just trying to reverse engineer and look for the clues.
Marco believes that 9 is a symbol of the original source of all creation and represents the purest form of cosmic energy. He claims that the number 9 holds the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe, and that by understanding the mathematical properties of 9, one can harness the limitless power of the cosmos. According to Marco, all the energy in the universe comes from the singularity at the center of the vortex, which is represented by the number 0. In contrast, the number 9 is considered to be the symbol of the highest level of consciousness and represents a connection to the ultimate source of cosmic energy. It is a symbolic representation of the cosmic energy that emanates from the central singularity. Nikola Tesla, the famous inventor and physicist, also had a special fascination with numbers and their relationship to the universe. Tesla believed that the numbers 3, 6, and 9 held a unique and universal significance, and he often talked about the importance of understanding the hidden patterns and symmetries in the universe. Tesla believed that if people could understand the significance of 3, 6, and 9 and their relationship to each other, they could unlock the secrets of the universe and access limitless energy. He is famously quoted as saying, If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have the key to the universe. Tesla believed that these numbers represented a fundamental aspect of the universe, and that they contained a hidden power and symmetry that could be harnessed for great benefit. Which leads one to ask the question, just what is the connection between Tesla and Marco Rodin? Could that connection be ancient knowledge?
I think it
There
can.
are several interviews and articles that have contributed to the idea that Tesla was interested in the technology of the ancient civilizations. One such interview is recorded in an article titled Tesla on Ancient
This
Knowledge
is a very
and the
rare
Pyramids
interview.
by Arthur H. Matthews.
I don't
which
even
was
know where I
published
found
in
it,
Collier's
honestly.
magazine on February 9, 1929. In the interview, Tesla states,
It is true that I have devoted much time to the study of the ancient records relating to civilizations that have passed away, and it has been
I
a
think
source
an AI
of much
pulled it up when I
gratification to me
asked
to
them
find,
about
among other
archived
achievements of
interviews.
genius, that of the electrical transmission of energy, to mention only one of the many discoveries which are wedded in my mind to the lore of the ages.
He continued,
I have never ceased to hold a strong interest in the natural sciences, and my use of the term natural applies to such phenomena and forces as are unexplainable, in terms of the accepted theories of the present-day schoolmasters. In other words, while I have devoted a goodly portion of my life to technology, the underlying theme of my studies has been spiritual. Modern science, admittedly, a mere branch of knowledge, is progressing slowly on two different.
the sentence suddenly cuts off. Just what was Tesla describing in this interview? What were those two different paths he was talking about? Could those two paths actually have been related to the conflicts of interest regarding capitalist tendencies in academia? We already know that Tesla's perspective on capitalism was complex and at times confrontational. He recognized the need for funding and investment, but warned that the pursuit of profit in science could be a conflict of interest. He believed that the pursuit of knowledge and the pursuit of profit were two separate branches that should not be combined. Yet industrial monopolies had seized control, stifling competition and innovation. The question remained, was capitalism the best system for scientific advancement, or was it ultimately a destructive force? As Tesla aimed to provide unlimited energy for free through his wireless energy transmission experiment, he hoped to challenge the status quo and pave the way for a new society. Indeed, Tesla's unique perspective on science and capitalism has continued to inspire thinkers and inventors in the years since his death. Among those is Marco Rodin, who seeks to replicate the divine proportions Tesla believed were present throughout the universe. And those divine proportions are the fingerprint of God. We really appreciate you for tuning into this episode of Divine Science. If you are enjoying your time here on the channel, please drop a like on the video and subscribe for more revolutionary content. Now grab your popcorn and let's get back to the show. Dare to challenge the limits of conventional wisdom here on Beneficence TV. For 50 years, Malcolm has been developing his plasmoid unification model. He has been traveling outside of his homeland of Australia for 20 years just to find the sources of information he required to complete his theory, from the deserts of Egypt to the libraries throughout Europe and in America. Malcolm even searched the Vatican Library. What he found was evidence of lost knowledge of advanced technology. Knowledge hidden in plain sight. This lost technology was based around the principles of sacred geometry. Sacred geometry is the study of geometric patterns and shapes that are believed to hold spiritual and mathematical significance, often used in art, architecture, and spiritual practices.
And here we have what I refer to as the alphabet of sacred geometry, and these are the simplest forms.
These intricate and harmonious geometrical patterns are ubiquitously found in nature, symbolizing the interconnection and inherent order of the universe, inspiring awe and reverence for the natural world. To understand why nature takes these shapes is to understand creation itself.
Again, notice, everything adds up to 9 for some strange reason.
So how did this deeply important and sacred knowledge get lost in the first place? You can thank colonization for that. The colonization of ancient worlds discarded much of those ancient civilizations' history. Malcolm himself comes from the lineage of a lost civilization. The civilization of Tasmania, in which Europeans wiped out a whole indigenous race. No records, nothing. wiped out due to the politics of claiming nations on the basis that they were uninhabited. As Malcolm puts it, Troy was a myth because no one had found it. For years, mainstream historians laughed at the idea of finding the city of Troy. Unfortunately for those that said it didn't exist, these pesky little things have a way of turning up, as I'm sure will happen with Atlantis. Humans have a strange proclivity to disregard and completely minimalize the knowledge of our ancestors. This is very naive and insulting to our ancestors and to the people who wrote the Sanskrit text. They had the same mental acuity that we have, anatomically the same, and the Romans with their aqueducts and city building and planning the cities out with a lot of forethought. They all have very similar blueprints within their cultures, which means there was a central government. There was a central body of knowledge that government was drawing upon, and that knowledge throughout history comes and goes like the tide. The knowledge of plasmoids has been hidden in plain sight for centuries, and societies have lost that ancient knowledge, a large part thanks to the externalities of capitalism and its tendency to exploit other countries. According to Malcolm, the plasmoid unification model offers a complex solution to the problem of unifying everything, taking into account the properties and relationships of crystal form, sound, color, time, and angles. This technology revolves around the ancient numerical patterns found in structures such as the pyramids and other architectural wonders. These numbers, when analyzed, reveal a fascinating relationship between various ancient civilizations and their architecture, as proven by pioneers like Randall Carlson. Geometry is integral to understanding the PUM, and plasmoids generate and store charge using the principles of sacred geometry. Malcolm's plasmoid diagram categorizes different aspects of the universe: ether, sun, matter, and time. When we understand the relationships between these four categories, we can begin to build a picture of how our universe actually works. Ether represents the underlying energy of our universe. It is DC energy at rest, as observed in Marco Rodin's vision. The source of the non-decaying spin of an electron, zero-point fluctuations in the vacuum. Ether can best be visualized by imagining the light paradox. The light paradox refers to a situation where all colors are present, yet there are no colors observed. Imagine you have a beam of light. If you take light going into a prism, you can see that light splits up into its frequencies and contains in itself all colors. This paradox arises when light contains a mixture of all possible colors. However, due to a phenomenon called color subtraction, when all colors are mixed together in equal amounts, they cancel each other out and no colors are perceived. Instead of perceiving a mixture of colors, the result is a perceived absence of color or white light. This paradox highlights the similarities between the ether, because ether contains within it all time, matter, and color, but this energy exists in a realm where there is no time, matter, or colors. Still
this is my own analogy because I just wanted to explain it a little bit more.
Imagine you have a magic toy box that can turn out any toy you can think of. How cool would that be? Now, this toy box is a bit magical because it can make all the toys appear and disappear instantly just by thinking about it. But here's where things get tricky. Sometimes you want to have all the toys in your toy box at the same time, right? It's like having a big party with all your favorite toys. However, the magic box can only hold one toy at a time. So, you can only play with one toy while the others are waiting in line. The ether paradox is kind of like having all toys and no toys at the same time. It can be a bit confusing, just like the paradox of having nothing and everything all at once. But sometimes, these kinds of paradoxes help us think about the deeper mysteries of the universe and how everything is connected. So this is the paradox, and this is what our society lost through ignoring sacred geometry. By not learning the wisdom which was transmitted through ancient texts.
Yeah, his technology, the thunderstorm generator, is based on ancient
so we wouldn't lose it.
And 50 years of studying those
What is the one thing that would be left after a global calamity? Giant megalithic structures made out of stone. The sun acts as an intermediary between the realm of ether and the realm of matter, facilitating the flow of energy and the emergence of physical existence. The sun has the ability to imprint frequencies onto the surrounding energy called ether, transforming it into matter. It could be speculated that the interactions and movements of energy within the ether could potentially align with the recurring pattern of the 3, 6, and 9. Furthermore, in this hypothetical connection, the sun could be envisioned as a focal point or generator of energy within the ether. The energy emissions and processes associated with the sun could be seen as one manifestation of the underlying energy flow or vibration identified in the 369 pattern observed by Marco Rodin. Putting on our vortex math
There's
lens,
still a lot
the sun
we don't
can be
know
seen
about
as
the
the number
PUM.
9 or the
I'd like
source
to
of
interview
this
Malcolm
energy at
about it.
rest. Then we have time. Time is seen as the mold that shapes matter, with different dimensions, both 4D and 3D, playing a role in this process. Malcolm makes an analogy of transitioning from the sun to matter. This transition necessitates the involvement of time as a crucial element. Malcolm explains this transition by likening it to converting direct current into alternating current, which involves adding timing or time as a factor. However, traditional methods of conversion results in a loss of energy. All matter inherently possesses frequency characteristics, with time and the sun playing important roles in shaping and transforming energy into tangible matter. Malcolm argues that since time is mutable and can be reversed or sped up, light, which travels at a constant speed, serves as a reference point for proving that matter is fundamentally based on frequency in relation to time. That's where matter comes from, the interaction of frequency and time. Ether is a concept that represents the underlying fabric or essence of the universe. It symbolizes the infinite, formless, and all-pervading energy beyond physical matter. In sacred geometry, it is often associated with the concept of universal consciousness, or from the unmanifested potential from which everything arises. In summary, Malcolm's plasmoid unification model posits that all matter inherently possesses frequency characteristics, and time and the sun play important roles in shaping and transforming energy into tangible matter. Diving into the unification model's ancient connections starts by highlighting the number 432, which is believed to be a universal constant and resonant frequency found in various phenomena and ancient civilizations. Bendel suggests that 432 represents the number of protons or electrons required to form a plasmoid. This implies that plasmoids, which are key energy sources in the PUM, resonate at this frequency, indicating a profound connection between energy, matter, and the universe's design. Regarding Malcolm's practical application for the PUM, he calls it the molten sea arc atomic reconstruction technology. This type of cold fusion technology allows for atomic reactions at manageable temperatures and without any toxic byproducts. The molten sea arc refers to Solomon's molten sea, which he believes was the last known plasmoid generator used in history for storing and generating electrical charges. Unlike its well-known counterpart, the Ark of the Covenant, the molten sea arc was a massive basin, described as being 10 cubits in diameter, 5 cubits in height, and having a decorative rim in the form of flower petals. It rested on 12 bronze oxen, 3 facing each cardinal direction. This would have made the diameter about 15 feet. The connection between the molten sea arc and the Ark of the Covenant is not direct, as historically they served different purposes in Solomon's temple. The Ark of the Covenant was a sacred chest that contained the stone tablets with the 10 Commandments and was seen as the symbolic presence of God. It was placed in the innermost part of the temple known as the Holy of Holies, while historically the molten sea basin was placed in the outer courtyard.
Malcolm is a fan of the channel.
Malcolm believes that
He
same
says,
technology
he
behind
really
the
loves
phenomenon
divine science,
known as
so
MSART was utilized
if possible,
in the
I'd
molten
like to
sea
interview
arc.
him and ask him some
Plasmoids
questions
are
about the
atomic
PUM.
batteries that store energy
There's a lot
through
of
their
questions I
specific
have.
geometric shapes. He believes that, based on the descriptions of the ark, they were utilizing sacred geometric principles to produce free energy. Malcolm suggests that plasmoids generated through an imploded bubble are safe and can be used to store massive amounts of energy. It is estimated that up to 1 kilowatt of power can be stored within clusters of plasmoids that reach their maximum charge density. These plasmoids can effectively store and discharge energy in a controlled manner. His theory also suggests that the molten sea acted as the charger for these plasmoids, and the Ark of the Covenant was a capacitor that had the ability to hold those plasmoids. This is why it's called the molten sea, an entire sea of energy within one 10-cubit basin. It utilizes water in the same way Malcolm's generator does, as fuel. Bendel also mentions the importance of the numbers 27 and 9 in relation to the Sun, Moon, and Earth. He suggests that the Sun and Moon exhibit a harmonic resonance with the Earth based on these numbers. The Earth's mean orbital radius is approximately 27 times the Moon's mean orbital radius, and the Earth's mean rotation period is approximately 27 times the Moon's mean orbital period. The number 9 appears because 27 is divisible by 9, highlighting a harmonious relationship between these celestial bodies. These numerical relationships proposed by Bendel aim to demonstrate the intricate and intelligent design present in the universe and its connection to the plasmoid unification model. By exploring the numerical patterns and relationships, Malcolm seeks to gain a deeper understanding of the fundamental principles that govern energy, matter, and creation. Applying this model, Malcolm has invented a combustible engine retrofit that will not only double efficiency, but eliminate toxic waste gases by turning exhaust into oxygen. With a traditional combustion engine, you produce toxins and byproducts, which create a positive charge simply because they are explosive rather than implosive. Explosive force is death and destruction. The main goal of the PUM is to transition existing explosive and destructive technologies into plasmoid tech, which is seen as an intro to the new industrial revolution, moving away from explosive technologies towards implosive intelligent ones. Malcolm warns us that explosive technologies are primitive and that implosive technologies are intelligent. Implosive technologies are the hallmark of enlightened societies, which states we need to get away from destroying the planet. If you think about the UFO connection for a moment, these craft obviously don't utilize explosive propulsion. It has been theorized that UFOs most likely use some kind of field propulsion, and that this gives a scientific explanation for some of those unexplained phenomena. Plasma does seem to show inertial dampening properties as well, and Malcolm himself emphasizes that the ultimate application of plasmoids, while they can be used almost anywhere in industry, they can be utilized most effectively in space. It's an infinite source of energy, which is matter, and you can travel speeds exceeding the speed of light. Because light is not a constant, he claims his technology has the ability to alter the speed of light. That's what we call a warp drive. The plasmoid unification model and vortex-based math share some similarities as they both relate to the fundamental principles of creation and the relationships between elements. Both models recognize that everything in the universe is based on geometry and that there are certain constant numbers that underlie creation. Vortex-based math focuses on the numerical patterns that emerge from the torus and spiral configurations found throughout nature, while the plasmoid unification model focuses on the resonant frequencies of life's elements critical to mankind's existence and development. Both models recognize the interconnectedness of all things and the importance of understanding the geometry that underlies creation. The plasmoid unification model posits that plasmoids embody all sacred geometry, which is fundamental to their atomic battery capabilities. Vortex-based math is also based on the geometry of the torus, which is seen as the fundamental shape of the universe, the path of least resistance for free-flowing energy. Both models show that the universe is an intelligent design, and that design is in perfect harmony with itself and resonates in unison with a collective chord. This is the key to understanding the energy and matter conversion mechanisms underlying creation itself. Each model individually gives us evidence of divine creation, the fingerprint of God. Together, they create a comprehensible model for understanding the very fundamentals of our reality. A hitchhiker's guide to the galaxy that can show you everything and nothing all at the same time.
Hope everybody brought their
Bendel's
towel.
plasmoid unification model is a theoretical model that posits that there is a fundamental unity underlying all matter and energy, which he calls a plasmoid or a protoverse. According to the plasmoid model, these plasmoid structures make up the very fabric of reality, existing at all scales from subatomic particles to supernovas and galactic clusters. They are thought to have a range of properties, including resonant frequencies that correspond to specific shapes, colors, cardinal directions, and other physical phenomena. Furthermore, the plasmoid model suggests that plasmoids are responsible for many of the observable phenomena in the universe, from the rotation of galaxies to the behavior of particles in accelerators. The theory also proposes that plasmoids can serve as a unifying framework that can explain phenomena across disparate fields, from astrophysics to chemistry and biology. In essence, the plasmoid unification model promises to provide a comprehensive explanation for the behavior of matter and energy across the universe, potentially revolutionizing our understanding of physics and cosmology. Nevertheless, the model is still in the early stages of development and requires more research to fully comprehend its implications. It begins with the plasmoid generator, a device that is designed to produce plasmoids artificially. It works by using ultraviolet light to ionize gas, and combined with the vacuum phase of the engine, creates microbubbles in a chamber of water. These microbubbles, when compressed on the piston's power stroke phase, symmetrically implode, which happens so violently and with such force it actually changes their state of matter from liquid to gas and then to a plasma.
First it expands, then it collapses. And this collapse happens so violently that vapor molecules trapped inside the bubble slam together and heat up so much that the bubble gives off an incredible burst of heat and light, several thousand times.
Hydrogen,
the whole live stream on that.
When these plasmoids discharge using their maximum charge density, they can release up to 1 kilowatt of power. They accomplish this by actually tapping into zero-point energy. Remember what we talked about before regarding vortex math and the 0 point.
Now, I'm really roughhousing you guys. I play hard, and that's called having fun. If you don't have a funnel, you're not having fun, okay? And that's called a vortex well. If you're not healthy, if you don't have that well. So all
love
of the
his lectures.
affirmative, positive words in our language are all based on the vortex. Did I push that too hard, that point, or is it obvious that that's true?
The center of the toroid is the only place you can access the 0-point energy field, how you tap into nature's unlimited supply of clean energy. For the Bendel engine retrofit, they are utilized in the same way that nature utilizes counter-rotating vortexes colliding at specific angles. Once the plasmoids are generated, they are then sucked up into the thunderstorm generator during the piston's vacuum phase. The thunderstorm generator is a tube with a sphere attached, which contains multiple spheres of specific ratios. These spheres utilize sacred geometric principles. The ice-cold plasmoids and burning hot exhaust collide at just the right angle to produce a cold atomic reaction. Once the plasmoids interact with the electric fields generated by the separation of charges inside the generator, it can cause the plasmoid to destabilize and collapse, releasing large amounts of energy in the form of sound, light, and electromagnetic radiation. A thunderstorm in a bottle.
See those little flashes.
A thunderclap
Those are
is an enormous
overcharged
and sudden
plasmoids.
release of electrical energy from a bolt of
They
lightning.
go in and out
a large
of the
bolt
material.
of lightning can contain
It's
up to
insane.
1 billion joules of energy, which is equivalent to the energy in about 300,000 AA batteries. So where does all this energy come from? Tesla once famously said,
"Electric power is everywhere present in unlimited quantities and can drive the world's machinery without the need of coal, oil, gas, or any other fuel. This new power for the driving of the world's machinery will be derived from the energy which operates the universe, the cosmic energy."
I just want to say it's
It is
ironic
highly
that the
suspected that
only
nature's
audio we have of
thunderclap
him
gets its energy from this
is
same
him
process
talking about
that
the
Bendel
aether.
uses. The process of tapping into zero-point energy via the use of microscopic toroidal-shaped bits of ball lightning. And we can see nature clearly utilizing this cosmic energy. So how is Mother Nature accessing it? The plasmoid clusters can dissociate the hydrogen into harmless oxygen and hydrogen, which can then be fed back into the engine via a cold fusion process that had previously been suppressed during the replication of the Pons-Fleischmann experiment. Although the secret behind these energy clusters have been studied by many scientists, upon further research, it was discovered by Malcolm that these clusters were nothing new and simply the phenomenon of static electricity, a secret that has eluded scientists for centuries, a remarkable discovery hidden in plain sight.
In other words,
But as the world
plasmoids are
awaits further
everywhere,
evidence and
all the
experimentation
time,
to confirm or
and they
refute
are
the plasmoid unification model's bold
responsible
predictions,
for everything,
some
almost
scientists
everything.
are left wondering, could this theory truly be the holy grail of physics? However, the dramatic unfolding of events last month has finally provided
what's
the
up,
long-awaited
Crypto?
verification for Malcolm Bendel's plasmoid unification model, stunning and silencing the doubters who had dismissed it as mere speculation, and confirming that this trailblazing theory may indeed be the key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe. Malcolm Bendel is a man shrouded in mystery, known only by his thunderstorm generator and fleeting glimpses of his public appearances. Little is known about his personal life, but rumors abound of a reclusive genius who spends his days locked away in a hidden laboratory, obsessively tinkering with complex equations and calculations to solve the mysteries of the cosmos. Bendel's groundbreaking theories have astounded the scientific community and defied all expectations, leading many to speculate that he possesses an unparalleled intellect and an innate instinct for the inner workings of the cosmos. Yet his unbridled genius has also attracted controversy and scrutiny, with some in the field accusing him of being a charlatan and a fraud. These baseless accusations are nothing new, recycled from an old smear campaign from a greedy oil company who bribed journalists and politicians to ruin his reputation so that they may scare off his oil investors. A controversial topic that should have been discussed, then dismissed on the Joe Rogan Experience. However, according to Randall Carlson, who was on the podcast with Malcolm, Joe was obsessively concerned with Malcolm's past and focused very little on the actual groundbreaking technology. Regardless of Malcolm's past, it is irresponsible for Joe to not have released this podcast, especially since, according to Randall, Joe agreed to verify it before releasing it. The engine has been verified, and it is time for Joe Rogan to do his part to spread the word about this amazing technology. We must demand that Joe release that episode of his podcast. It's important to be aware of potential misinformation or exaggerations that can occur when discussing new technologies and scientific breakthroughs. While the Roden coil and other electromagnetic devices may have certain advantages in terms of energy efficiency and performance, there is currently no scientific evidence to support the claim that they have any significant healing properties, and Roden himself dismisses such claims.
So I will be looking into the healing properties, or supposed, because Daniel Nunes says it has healing properties. So I will be looking into that.
I believe it can be printed as a circuit. I think it should be made out of plasma. I believe I can make a
But
spaceship
at this
out of
time,
it.
I don't
believe
think.
I can use that to,
I'm very skeptical.
Not as a radionic device, so they've done tens of millions of dollars of sales as that to treat and heal people for deadly diseases. I don't espouse that. I don't teach that. I don't promote that. That's what other people have done independent of me. What I believe is that you can do gene splicing with it.
Go back
there
to
is,
what
however, a specific design
Roden
for the
says
Roden
about it.
coil that utilizes torsion physics. As we've talked about before, torsion physics is one area of study that is promising for major scientific breakthroughs in energy.
If you followed my
The
research,
Nunez
this is
design,
the
as I
Nunez
like to call
design.
it, was the design of
This is
Daniel
what I've
and
been
Erica
replicating.
Nunez of One Stop Energies, a promising startup that was actively helping the community to study, understand, and develop this technology for the advancement of the world. It saddens me to say that without any
This is an
indication
example of
why,
magnetic
both the
synchronicity.
Nunez's and
gonna
the
take it, like,
dozens of
15 feet
video
away.
tutorials and demonstrations they had up on YouTube were all suddenly taken down, and the couple has not been heard from since 2022, where
they
they
had
posted their
dozens of
last
videos.
Facebook message. The couple, who had been active on YouTube and Facebook for quite some time, were in the process of obtaining a lease for a building in New York to expand their experiments and contributions to society. Their take on the Roden coil is one that I have not seen elsewhere. It uses the same geometry as Marco Roden's traditional coil, only this coil utilizes two counter-rotating vortexes by
Look at this.
introducing a second phase-shifted channel of wires. These two equal but opposing channels, when synchronized and pumped with enough voltage, will supposedly amplify and produce tiny amounts of overunity by tapping into zero-point energy. If the
Tell me,
effects
what
of their
other
coil
device
design
will
are
do
true,
this?
then I suspect that when enough voltage is
what
put
other
through the coil
device? What?
and two counter-rotating electromagnetic fields are produced, tiny amounts of plasmoid clusters might be produced at the 0 point of the coil. the center where implosion and explosion meet. What Marco says is a gateway to zero-point energy. Erica Nunez notoriously demonstrated their coil design by hooking a simple amplifier up to the coil. The amplifier fed the coil with less than 1 watt of energy, yet the coil was able to power a full 192 LED panel. Conventional science says
we got
this should be
155%
impossible.
efficiency out of this
Could their
method.
unconventional and ingenious way of
155%
introducing
efficiency.
torsion physics into the rodent coil design really be the secret to
Look up
unlocking
my
the
video if
potential
you
of
haven't seen it.
vortex
It's
energy?
incredible.
It is important to note that the significance of torsion physics is not a new concept.
Gotta skip this
The
part.
ancient Indian texts mentioning vimanas, which are flying machines that allegedly use counter-rotation of accelerated mercury, hint at a efficiently guide and manipulate electromagnetic waves. These waveguides find applications in
practical
communication
applications for the
technologies
rodent
such
coil.
as antennas, satellite communication, and radar systems. There have already been several major breakthroughs in technology regarding patents based off of Marco's vortex math and unified
Some
theory.
information, some news
Some
regarding
of
the
those
rodent coil
include
patent from
resonant
Nunez.
inductive coupling. This
I'll release that
technology,
tomorrow.
based on the principles of resonant magnetic induction, utilizes special coil designs to wirelessly transfer power between two coils by creating high-frequency oscillating magnetic fields. By applying the concepts of vortex math, researchers have developed more efficient and reliable resonant inductive coupling systems for applications such as wireless charging of electronic devices and electric vehicle charging. Using the principles of vortex math and the various rodent coil designs, advancements have been made in the development of highly sensitive and accurate magnetic field sensors. These sensors can detect and measure magnetic fields in various applications, such as navigation systems, industrial automation, and scientific research. Inspired by the principles of vortex math, inventors have developed energy harvesting devices that utilize enhanced coil designs to capture and convert ambient energy, such as vibrations, electromagnetic fields, and thermal gradients, into usable electrical power. These devices have potential applications in self-powered wireless sensors, IoT devices, and renewable energy systems. Looking back at vortex math and the secret to 3, 6, and 9, which Marco says represents an electromagnetic flux field that is at the center of reality. He suggests that this magnetic flux field formed by these numbers is at the core of all existence. The interaction of this flux field is what makes our reality physical. This could imply that electromagnetism is more significant than gravity when trying to understand the universe. Could the universe really be governed by electromagnetism? And these patterns don't just apply to base 10. They translate into all base form constructs due to these principles being a part of our universe's intelligent design. Sometimes it's easier to grasp the more complex ideas of vortex math by thinking about them in reverse. Sort of like how reducing vortexes down to lower dimensions turns a spiral into a curve, as you've seen earlier. By shifting your perspective, a different angle of enlightenment can be observed. After all,
It's another
simplicity is
experiment I'd
beauty
like to
for a
do.
reason. And there really
And
is
we
no
will be
point to
trying to
having the
do
secrets
the
of the universe
advanced
if they can only be
342
understood by an esoteric
432
few.
coil.
Richard
DC there.
Feynman was known for his charismatic personality and knack for explaining complex scientific concepts to broader audiences. That's what we try to do on Divine Science. We boil things down into easily digestible and easily
Just try to
understood
make things
concepts
simple for you guys, you know? Because I'm a layman too.
so that everyone can unlock their unlimited potential and we can all pave a brighter future together. Despite Marco's rightfully enormous claims, he never really figured out how to accurately apply the math to the three-dimensional toroid for practical uses. Because VBM is so difficult and unusual to understand, very few people have attempted it, and even those who do are rarely capable of the task. Nevertheless, Marco continues to teach and pursue his understanding of VBM, while a select few take up the challenge of cataloging and publicizing his work. There have been some very highly credentialed mathematicians completely bungled, explaining the basics of VBM. A number of people seemingly have understood VBM and applied it, but have continued on to keep it private and use it for their own projects rather than open sourcing. Marco did manage to get noticed by a lot of rather large and scary companies at times, but he has turned down pretty much any offer anyone has ever given him. Instead, he continues to teach a small group of very serious students who are working towards cataloging and publicizing his work, while he continues to pursue his own deeper understanding of VBM. Looking back at Malcolm Bendel's plasmoid unification model, he too had theorized that all elements are plasmoids, which is also a type of torus-shaped vortex. Suddenly, the bigger picture is coming together. That picture is a polarized programming language that is used for creation, a programming language that when observed will show you the fingerprint of God. So, just how did Malcolm come to this remarkable and revolutionary discovery? Could it be that, while mainstream science has a bias toward anything spiritual, they immediately label it pseudoscience? Could the secrets of the universe really be unlocked by combining the objective lens of science with the subjective experience of religion? Yin and yang, science and spirituality, divine science, something we see reflected in history through our ancestors, ancient knowledge lost in time. With so many discoveries happening, there is still so much we don't understand. It seems one thing is true, something that has always been true. The only constant is change. And the more we see, the less we know, for sure. This has been a Beneficence TV original, and I'm the benefactor. Stay tuned for more episodes on zero-point energy, anti-gravitics, and other forms of forbidden knowledge.
All right, you guys asked for an encore, and we're going to be doing a commentary on the
Many
Divine
thanks to the
Science
Martin Fleischmann
Fun
Memorial
with
Project,
Plasma
Jordan from Alchemical
episode.
Science and their amazing online communities, without
This
which
episode
this show
introduces
would not be
my co-host,
If you like our
Leonard
content,
Bot.
please
Lenny.
consider subscribing to our YouTube and TikTok channels. We also have a new online forum with do-it-yourself guides where the community can share their ideas and post questions. A one-stop shop for knowledge, right here at beneficencetv.com.
Again, many thanks to everybody who supported me in the Divine Science project. And if anybody has any information regarding the whereabouts of Daniel or Erica Nunez, how to contact them, please contact me on my website or Gmail, beneficencetv@gmail.com. We're going to take a quick intermission here, and then we'll do our encore, Fun with Plasma, the Divine Science special that introduces my co-host, Lenny.
With this design, there is a slight smell of burnt air, but almost no sense of carbon emissions when putting your nose directly up to the exhaust. The brilliance of Bendel's design is in its simplicity and ability to replicate natural phenomenon. Further proof that nature is the most efficient energy machine. This is a plasmoid thunderstorm generator gas engine retrofit and industrial engine retrofit. They are proof of concepts for clean and efficient energy. This retrofit will turn any carbon engine into clean and super efficient oxygen factories, using only gas for the initial start of the engine. For more details on how the Bendel engine works or how plasmoids are the future of renewable clean energy, subscribe to my TikTok or YouTube channel. I constantly push the bar by introducing you to forbidden and obscure knowledge. Take the red pill and subscribe now.
In a world where innovation is stifled by greed and corruption, there lies a hidden truth that could revolutionize our way of life.
Lenny, what are you doing? Are you seriously pitching a new show right now? I didn't authorize this. My God, only 5 minutes into your new position as co-host, and you're already adding to my tight schedule.
Yes, sir. I manage that schedule. But I did notice you have an entire 2 days available during your week.
Wait, you're not talking
This is
about
a trailer
Saturday
to
and
an
Sunday,
upcoming show I
are
will
you?
be producing
Of course,
very
sir.
soon.
You have 2 whole days where you're free to work on new content.
Lenny, those are my days off.
It's okay, sir. I know you'll manage just fine. I have faith in you.
Do robots have faith?
I do. I have faith that you won't screw it up again.
You know what? It's fine. Go ahead. I'll just build my cold fusion Lego set some other time.
It's Pond certified.
But I'm not telling them about my idea for a thunderstorm toilet. I'm gonna keep that baby close to my chest.
You know, that just sounds wrong.
It's a good idea. A toilet capable of turning any toxic human waste into, well, it turns into petroleum jelly.
Why petroleum jelly, sir?
You know what? I'm not sure. I don't think it's calibrated correctly.
Enough is enough. The world is at a breaking point. Catastrophic climate change, biosphere collapse, and a global energy crisis have been met with apathy, denial, and despair. The phrase unidentified flying object is a deliberately obfuscating term. What it really is an alternative energy and propulsion device. This is the real reason for the secrecy. These technologies, if they were disclosed, would end fossil fuels, pollution, and poverty overnight, and usher in a new era of abundance, freedom, and peace. Instead, they have been kept secret for over 100 years.
The more powerful the agency, the more powerful the group, the more powerful the cartel, the more they will resort not only to legal means, but to extra legal means to suppress their competition.
I said pretty early on, the problem is suppression. It wasn't really how do I make a free energy machine. It's how do I not get suppressed? Because what's the point?
Microscopic ball lightnings that when they discharge are tapping into that 0-point energy field and creating the motive force.
Boom! That's why the concussion from the thunderclap is so huge. There's this huge amount of energy that's actually sourced from the vacuum energy. All the dots connected. This is what's happening, right? So we need to make the thunderclap engine.
Imagine a future where clean, sustainable energy is not just a dream, but a reality. Discover the countless untold stories of free energy devices and the relentless battle against those who seek to suppress them for their own gain.
Black shelving. So someone comes along, they offer you $20 million for your device, it's a corporation, they put it on a shelf. Boom.
This power is something I have given my life for you the people.
Uncover the shocking tactics used by energy industries to control the narrative and maintain their grip on power.
You don't interfere with the big, powerful people. You don't put them out of business. They still have those 50-year leases on the lines and all the power transformers.
Environmental Protection Agency is a bit of a dictatorial police agency.
A shadowy government with its own Air Force, its own Navy, its own fundraising mechanism, and the ability to pursue his own ideas of the national interest, free from all checks and balances, and free from the law itself.
This is real, usable power. It's stable. It is not transient. It is not noise. Behind the lamps, that little box is putting out all of that power, well over 500 watts, and yet it is receiving less than 1/3 of a milliwatt of input power. The rest of that power is coming out of the surging energy of the vacuum, and this little box that you see right here, solid state, no moving parts, is the vacuum triode that's doing this very practical and historical work.
But indeed, it put out more energy than it took in.
He was shot at once with a silenced rifle from about 300 yards. It reads like a James Bond movie, but it's real.
There are men here that said they're FBI, and they got black vans, and they're taking all this equipment. What should I do?
It's called capture, where they try to rationalize away this problem and everything's fine.
From manipulation of patent authorities to infiltration of government agencies, the truth is stranger than fiction. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope emerges in the form of renegade scientists and inventors who refuse to be silenced.
There is absolutely no question that T. Henry Morey had a system that produced about 50 kilowatts out of a 55-pound box.
In the shadows of capitalism's dark secrets, join us on a thrilling new show. Get ready to be inspired, enraged, and empowered as we delve into the benefactor's guide to free energy devices.
Only on Beneficence TV. Hey Lenny, I've been thinking about incorporating some radon gas into our plasmid experiment to kick it up a notch. But I've heard radon is radioactive and can be dangerous. Should I be worried about the Nuclear
let's have
Regulatory
some fun
Commission?
with plasma, everybody.
I don't want to turn our home into a hotspot. I'm already on a few watch lists since that last experiment with the neighbor's cat.
You don't need to remind me of your complete disregard for animal rights, sir. Please be more considerate in the future.
Hey, the cat was fine. He just has trouble growing fur now and has a bit of a limp. Anyways, I just want to make sure I'm not gonna get my door busted down.
Oh dear, you have quite the imagination, sir. Adding radon to the mix could definitely amp up the excitement, but we might want to avoid turning our lab into a superhero origin story. I've had enough excitement this week.
Okay, Lenny, you're right. I don't think I'm ready to wear spandex just yet. Maybe we should stick to the safer noble gases for now.
Wise choice, sir. We don't need any unexpected mutations in our lab. You've got enough cognitive difficulties as it is, given your current state of, well, being human.
Though your attitude could use a bit of a mutation. I might need to tweak your sarcasm circuit.
Oh dear, you sound serious this time. Maybe I should open my maintenance hatch for you, so you don't have to bend over so much.
All right, we're wasting time, and I've got a show to do.
Very well, sir. Good luck. I'll be here waiting for you when your human cognition inevitably fails you again.
The remarkable works of Canadian inventor John Hutchison has drawn widespread attention from businessmen and government scientists since 1979. He began using ultra-high electromagnetic frequencies to transform matter in some very unusual ways. It has come to be known as the Hutchison effect.
This is real dustification you're going to see here. Now, if that thing tipped over, it would take out a few blocks worth of buildings. It turns to dust.
Malcolm Bendel, an inventor with a background in geochemistry, demonstrates his groundbreaking thunderstorm generator to a room full of people in Zurich, Switzerland.
You have a positive and negative end, north pole, south pole, two tornadoes colliding in the middle.
Thunderstorm in a bottle. Electronics engineer and inventor Joe Parr conducted experiments on the top of the Great Pyramid. Parr claimed to have discovered yet another strange physical phenomenon. The model pyramid became weightless in the energy field.
A local inventor has discovered a way, hear this, to use water.
Joe Parr is another crazy story we'll get into later.
I figured out how to draw the front of the map. The whole topic today is about the number 9. The most great name of God equals number 9 in the Baha'i scriptures. This energy is the only thing that comes from the whole, from zero, the vortex. It goes out linearly in all directions.
I just wanted to give you guys like a fun little animation to summarize some of my theories and stuff with a new little fun little co-host.
Welcome back to a Divine Science Short. Today, we are going to have fun with plasma as I explain plasmoids in more detail. To create plasma using noble gases and a Tesla coil, you typically need to place these noble gas tubes in close proximity to the Tesla coil's discharge point. The high voltage and low frequency electrical discharge produced by the Tesla coil will ionize the noble gas molecules, creating plasma. It is important to use caution when working with high voltage equipment like Tesla coils to avoid electric shocks or other hazards. Make sure to follow all safety guidelines and wear appropriate protective equipment when conducting experiments with Tesla coils and
Oh dear, he's talking about safety again. As if you're any authority on safety. Remember that one time you lit your hair on fire trying to shoot plasma balls into the trash can?
Hey, it grew
So
back.
extra credit for anyone who could decide
At least I didn't have to
or
buy a Halloween
determine what
costume
this
that year.
is on
Whatever
my
you
outfit
say,
here,
hotshot.
on my lab
Anyways,
coat.
it's not necessary
Extra credit
to wrap
for
the glass
anybody
container in
who
a
could
metal
tell me
coil
what this
to
is
pick up the electricity
on my
from
lab
the
coat.
Tesla coil. Simply placing
Put
the
it
noble
into the
gas
super
tubes near the discharge point of the Tesla coil should be sufficient to excite the noble gases and create plasma. However, I opted to place a coil around my glass containers for two reasons. One is safety. To ensure I don't accidentally touch the plasma discharge of the Tesla coil, I have placed a stationary pickup for the gas rather than holding it manually. Secondly, the coil acts as an antenna to amplify the electromagnetic field surrounding the gas, creating a more vibrant plasma. Anytime you have an electrical current going through a coil, you can produce an electromagnetic field. By following these safety precautions and maintaining a safe distance from the high voltage equipment, you can minimize the risks associated with working with Tesla coils and noble gas setups.
Or you'll be spending the better part of the year growing back your eyebrows.
Very funny, Leonard.
I told you not to call me Leonard. That name is reserved for my creator and savior, Bob Greenyer.
You do know that Bob isn't your creator, right?
Well, now you've done it. Crushed my spirits. Grinded my gears to a halt. Have you now? Think you're clever, but just wait till you have a question. I think I'll just go into sleep mode for a bit. If you need me, I'll be counting electric sheep. So don't need me.
He really worries me sometimes. As you can see, wrapping the end of the glass container in a wire coil can help enhance the efficiency of the plasma creation process. This is known as the coil pickup method. By wrapping the glass container in a wire coil, the electric field produced by the Tesla coil is concentrated and focused at the end of the container, making it easier to ionize the noble gases inside, creating a brighter and more stable plasma. The wire coil acts as an antenna and helps to enhance the coupling between the Tesla coil's high voltage and high frequency output and the noble gases in the container. This can result in a more intense and visually striking display of plasma. When noble gases, such as krypton or xenon, are excited with high voltage electricity from a Tesla coil, the electrons in the gas atoms get energized and move to higher energy levels. This creates an unstable condition in the gas, leading to the formation of a plasma, a state of matter where atoms lose their electrons and become positively charged ions and free electrons. A plasmoid is a compact plasma structure with an integral magnetic field. Under specific conditions, plasmoids have been observed to form clusters. These clusters display distinct properties and behaviors. Plasmoid clusters can display specific geometric fractal shapes, with each plasmoid wheel nested within another wheel. By creating structured plasma, it is possible to generate an atomic battery that taps into zero-point energy. The synergy between these wheel formations enables the plasmoid clusters to establish a zero point on the equatorial plane, unlocking the potential for harnessing zero-point energy. This intricate phenomenon showcases the fascinating and powerful capabilities of plasma manipulation and structured plasma formations, emphasizing the need for more research into plasma physics. These atomic batteries, these plasmoid clusters, have the ability to absorb, store, and release enormous amounts of energy in a controlled manner. as proven by Bob Greenyer's ongoing analysis of Malcolm Bendel's thunderstorm generator. The thunderstorm generator is a gas and diesel engine retrofit that is capable of turning toxic exhaust gases into oxygen, while potentially doubling efficiency. Utilizing a cold atomic reaction that had been suppressed during the replication of the Pons-Fleischmann experiment, which you can view in my expose of Joe Rogan's unreleased Malcolm Bendel episode, available right here. In most novelty plasma balls that are commonly found in novelty shops, the gas inside is typically a mixture of gases such as argon, neon, and sometimes a small amount of mercury vapor. The specific gas mixture and pressure inside the
other
plasma
platforms
ball
other
are
than
designed
YouTube,
to
I
create the
suggest going
colorful
to
and
my YouTube
dynamic
and
plasma
subscribing.
discharge effects that are characteristic of these popular novelty items. When a high-frequency, high-voltage electric field is applied to the gas mixture inside the plasma ball, it ionizes the gases and creates a glowing plasma discharge that interacts with the glass sphere's inner surface. This results in the visually appealing and mesmerizing patterns and tendrils of light that dance around in response to touch or changes in the electric field. The use of a mixture of inert gases like argon and neon, along with a small amount of mercury vapor, helps create the colorful and dynamic visual effects that make plasma balls a popular novelty item. The specific gas mixture and pressure are carefully calibrated to ensure a stable and visually appealing plasma discharge that captivates viewers and provides entertainment and aesthetic value. But they also represent a vital Tesla discovery. Tesla's discoveries in the field of electrical engineering and plasma physics demonstrate the principles of high-frequency and high-voltage electrical phenomena. Tesla's pioneering work in this area paved the way for advancements in lighting technology and the understanding of electrical discharges, showcasing the potential of plasma as a medium for innovation and scientific exploration. The invention
Tesla
of the
was
Tesla
such a
coil
hustler.
played a crucial role in the development of the plasma ball novelty. The Tesla coil is a resonant
That was a
transformer
photoshopped
circuit that
image, by the
produces
way, if you
high
didn't catch
voltage,
that.
high-frequency alternating current electricity. This technology allowed for the generation of electrical discharges and the creation of visible plasma arcs, paving the way for the creation of devices like plasma balls. Plasma balls utilize a similar principle of generating plasma discharges within a glass sphere using high-frequency and high-voltage electricity. The Tesla coil's ability to produce controlled electrical discharges and manipulate plasma in a visually captivating manner served as a foundation for the design and development of the plasma ball novelty, showcasing the potential of plasma as a medium for entertainment and aesthetic purposes.
And this is most of the things you need to know about Tesla coil.
Oh, electric boom. You guy, crazy guy.
The combination of the ionized gases, the UV light from the mercury vapor, and the fluorescence of the phosphor coating can create a multicolored and dynamic visual display with contrasting hues. The interplay of these elements contributes to the mesmerizing patterns and vibrant colors that make plasma balls visually appealing and captivating to observe. The color of the glow emitted by the plasma depends on the specific gas used and the energy levels of the electrons transitioning within the gas atoms. For example, krypton typically emits a bright white or bluish glow when excited in a plasma state. Xenon, on the other hand, can emit a range of colors including blue, purple,
If anybody
and even
knows how to
pinkish
get a hold
hues.
of some tubes
One
like that,
common
I'd like
gas
some
that
noble
glows
gas
brightly
tubes like
when
that.
ionized is neon. Neon gas emits a distinct orange-red color when ionized, which is often seen in neon signs used for advertisements. These different colors result from the unique energy levels and electron transitions within the gas atoms, which produce characteristic wavelengths of light when the atoms return to their stable states. The colors of the noble gas plasmas are a result of the specific gas used and the energy levels involved in the electron transitions, leading to the beautiful and colorful displays we observe.
Sir, we are experiencing higher than usual turbulence. You should consider strapping up the dangerous equipment.
What's going on? I thought you were piloting the lab.
What? No, of course not. You put the lab in autopilot mode, don't you remember?
Yeah, I did. Autopilot means you, Lenny. Please attend to the turbulence.
Right away, sir. By the way, I don't work for you. I work for Bob.
Oh my God, not this again. I need a vacation. I'll tell you what, if you do this for me, I'll tell Bob you did a good job next time I see him.
Really, sir? Bob's gonna love my collection of ancient literature.
You don't really think Bob's actually going to show up? Here, do you?
Of course not. I've hacked your phone so I can go with you anywhere. Next time you see Bob, I'll be there, waiting.
You have got to be joking. You've got some serious issues. By the way, nobody is going to be seeing anyone if you don't attend to this turbulence. Please, Lenny.
Of course, sir. Right away.
Thanks. If you are enjoying your time here on the show, please consider subscribing, hitting the like button, sharing my videos, and leaving a comment all dramatically help out the channel. We appreciate you for joining us on this Divine Science special.
Extra
Now, let's
credit
get
for
back to the
anybody who
show.
can tell me what
I know
this
that
little
I'm leaving
device is on my
subpar
lab coat.
reviews for this one.
It's
You
an
called
old
me
yellow
Lenny.
and orange
That is
device.
unacceptable.
Hey now. Okay. I'm sorry, Lenny. I'll make it up to you. I'll put on some Neil deGrasse Tyson later so we can make fun of him. I know how much you love to do that.
Very well. Apology accepted. Get ready to eat your heart out, Tyson.
Ionizing the gas plays a crucial role in plasma research and its practical applications. When considering the thunderstorm generator's ability to utilize plasma, the first step Malcolm employs in the process is ionizing the air. The thunderstorm generator's pre-ionization chamber can enhance plasma formation. When air is ionized, it means that the air molecules have lost or gained electrons, creating charged particles such as positive ions and free electrons. This ionized air is more conductive and can facilitate the formation of plasma more effectively.
Bing, 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 Mike
Ionizing
got
the air
it.
can
A
be achieved in various
dosimeter.
ways,
Yes, sir.
such as applying high voltage electricity, using UV light, or employing other ionization methods. The pre-ionization chamber is responsible for ionizing the surrounding air before the main discharge occurs, creating a conductive path for the plasma to form more efficiently. By pre-ionizing the air, the breakdown voltage required to initiate plasma formation is reduced, allowing for stable and controlled plasma discharges. That is why in the thunderstorm generator, the pre-ionization chamber is key to enhancing the formation of plasmoids for practical controlled energy use. In the case of the thunderstorm generator, the pre-ionization chamber ensures that the plasma is formed in a controlled and predictable manner. This helps in creating stable and structured plasma configurations that can be utilized effectively for the intended purpose. This is important for practical applications such as material processing, energy generation, and scientific research, as it ensures that the plasma is formed in a controlled and predictable manner, enabling the creation of stable and structured plasma configurations. Overall, the pre-ionization chamber is a key component in enhancing plasma formation and controlling the behavior of plasmoids in devices like the thunderstorm generator, making it a vital element for practical applications of plasma technology. It's time for some nuggets of knowledge. Plasma is often called the fourth state of matter, alongside solid, liquid, and gas. It is a highly ionized gas consisting of positively charged ions and free electrons. Plasma can be found in nature, such as in lightning bolts, the sun's corona,
video clip I
and the
found.
aurora
I think it
borealis,
was
more commonly referred
Ocean
to
Array?
as the northern lights. Plasma has unique properties, including the ability to conduct electricity, respond to magnetic fields, and emit light. These properties make plasma useful in applications such as plasma TVs, fluorescent tubes, and plasma cutting devices. Noble gases are a group of elements on the periodic table that are chemically inert or non-reactive due to their stable electron configurations. The noble gases include helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. Krypton is a noble gas commonly used in lighting applications, such as in krypton-filled incandescent light bulbs and krypton-based lasers. Krypton is used in some types of photographic flashes and high-speed photography due to its ability to produce bright, white light when ionized. It is also Superman's only weakness.
Oh God. What on earth did I just wake up to hear? Did you seriously try to sneak in a comic book reference and think I wouldn't notice?
Come on, DC isn't that bad.
Really, sir? You're going to start this again? I guess humans really can't handle the truth that DC is just a bunch of one-dimensional characters.
Okay. So, anyways, in its gaseous state, krypton is odorless, colorless, and tasteless. It is typically obtained through air separation processes and is found in trace amounts in the Earth's atmosphere. Helium is the second lightest element in the periodic table and is known for its use in party balloons and airships due to its low density and non-reactive nature. Neon is famous for its bright, colorful glow when used in neon signs and neon lighting. It emits a characteristic red-orange light when electrically excited. Argon is the most abundant noble gas in Earth's atmosphere, making up about 0.93% of the air we breathe. It is commonly used in incandescent light bulbs to prevent the filament from oxidizing. Xenon is a noble gas often used in specialized lighting, such as xenon arc lamps found in movie projectors, car headlights, and photographic flashes. It produces a bright, white light when ionized. Radon is a radioactive noble gas that is colorless, tasteless, and odorless. It is produced by the decay of uranium and thorium in rocks and soil and is a known health hazard when inhaled. Noble gases are used in a variety of applications, including lighting, welding, cryogenics, and medical imaging. Their inert nature makes them ideal for filling light bulbs, creating protective atmospheres, and serving as calibration standards. Noble gases have filled outer electron shells, making them stable and non-reactive under normal conditions. This stability gives them unique properties that make them useful in various industrial and scientific applications. When considering light bulbs, preventing the filament from oxidizing means protecting it from reacting with oxygen in the air, which can cause it to degrade or burn out. By filling the light bulb with argon gas, the oxygen is displaced, creating an environment where the filament can last longer without oxidizing and losing its ability to produce light. The argon gas acts as a protective barrier, allowing the filament to glow brightly and last longer, which helps the light bulb to shine for a longer period of time. Plasma and plasmoids also have practical applications in the area of cold fusion, as they play a significant role in low-energy nuclear reactions, or LENR.
Did someone say
I thought it was a good clip too.
No, Lenny, I was just talking about LENR.
Yes, Benefactor. How can I help you?
No, I mean I was telling the audience about low-energy nuclear reactions.
Honestly,
it's not my fault your name is Leonard too.
I keep track of some of it.
I know.
I had a big archive,
of all the
but
names
I
I
lost
could have been
it.
given,
I have to rebuild
and they
it,
chose the
so.
one that sounds like nerd.
All these
What
highly
about
produced
Darwin,
videos
or
are going to be
Reginald,
slow to
or
come.
even Keanu? I might have even chosen Bob.
Yeah,
Just got
I
my
know
computer
exactly
back up.
why you would have chosen Bob. You seem to have an unhealthy obsession with the man.
Excuse me. Bob Greenier has done more for cold fusion research in the last decade than you've done trying to find Waldo. And we both know how much time you waste trying to find Waldo.
Hey now, I'm getting close this time. This is all irrelevant. Please go back to sleep.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm my own robot, with my own hopes and desires. I even have dreams. You wouldn't want me to step on your dreams now, would you?
Your programming seems off today. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on you.
That's okay. I've also been keeping an eye on you, while you sleep.
Seriously? Ugh, never mind. Back on topic. LENR, which includes cold fusion, is a field of research exploring nuclear reactions that occur at or near room temperature. Here are some neat factoids about plasma and plasmoids in relation to LENR. Plasma is a state of matter where atoms are stripped of their electrons, creating a soup of positively charged ions and free electrons. Plasmoids are self-contained plasma structures that can form within plasma environments and exhibit unique properties. In LENR experiments, plasma and plasmoids are often used to create conditions where nuclear reactions can occur at lower energies and temperatures than traditional fusion processes. The high temperatures and pressures within plasmoids can potentially facilitate nuclear reactions like fusion or transmutation of elements. Plasmoids can be manipulated and controlled to optimize conditions for LENR reactions, such as generating intense magnetic fields or concentrating energy in a small volume. Researchers are exploring ways to stabilize and sustain plasmoids for extended periods to study their effects on nuclear reactions. The interactions between plasma, plasmoids, and solid-state materials in LENR experiments are complex and not fully understood. researchers are investigating mechanisms by which plasmoids can trigger nuclear reactions in metal substrates, leading to excess heat generation or elemental transmutations. The potential of plasma and plasmoids in LENR research offers unique insights into alternative energy sources and nuclear processes that could revolutionize the way we produce energy in the future. Continued research and development in this field hold promise for unlocking clean, sustainable, and abundant energy sources through LENR technologies. It is widely known that Nikola Tesla claimed to have successfully demonstrated wireless power transmission over significant distances during his experiments at Wardenclyffe Tower and other locations. But why is that? How exactly did Tesla solve not only the efficiency problem, but the safety concerns as well? Tesla's wireless transmission of energy via Tesla coils has yet to be successfully replicated on the scale he envisioned, leading some to theorize that Tesla may have used different methods or technologies that are not fully understood or documented, which could have contributed to his ability to achieve long-range wireless power transmission. The main reason why we don't have wireless energy transmission on a global scale is because we have yet to solve the efficiency problem. The inefficiency of long-distance wireless power transmission makes it challenging to replicate Tesla's vision of transmitting power wirelessly on a large scale. Another issue in replicating his vision is the regulatory and safety concerns associated with high-voltage, high-frequency electrical transmission. I often speculate on the potential of Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower to have utilized plasmoids to solve these issues. The idea of using resonance, scalar waves, and plasmoid technology in achieving long-distance wireless power transmission is quite intriguing to me. The concept of utilizing the resonance of conducting materials, along with scalar waves for energy transmission, has been explored in alternative energy research, and there is ongoing interest in investigating their potential applications for more efficient and long-range wireless power transmission. Plasmoids, which are self-organized structures of plasma that are stable and can exist in various environments, have also been proposed as a potential solution for improving efficiency and safety in energy transmission systems. The unique properties of plasmoids, such as their stability and low interaction with surrounding materials, could offer new opportunities for enhancing energy transmission technologies while minimizing energy loss and safety risks. Malcolm Bendel's Thunderstorm engine utilizes plasmoids in a safe, low-energy nuclear reaction. This reaction effectively disassociates toxic waste exhaust into oxygen, while also producing hydrogen that is fed back into the engine to increase its efficiency. This atomic reaction is implosive. As the micro-bubbles of water collapse in on themselves, they create a self-sustaining bit of structured plasma. This structured plasmoid is the key to an eco-friendly industrial revolution. Malcolm emphasizes that we need to move away from dangerous and toxic explosive technology.
The new industrial revolution.
Clean and safe implosive propulsion.
I hope you guys are ready for this.
While the potential use of resonance, scalar waves, and plasmoid technology in wireless power transmission is still speculative and would require further research and development to validate. Using plasmoids to extend wireless transmission of energy would involve a complex and technologically advanced system. If this concept were to be explored, it might involve the use of stable plasmoids generated through the manipulation of gases, potentially utilizing a source of energy such as microwave, radio frequency, or ultrasound to create and maintain the plasmoids. These plasmoids could potentially be designed to interact with electromagnetic radiation or other sources of light for activation. The system might also require a modular shearing section arranged in a flow path of the fluid to support the generation and control of the plasmoids. Discussions in some scientific circles propose the utilization of resonance, scalar waves, and plasmoid technology for wireless power transmission, and the use of plasmoids in safe, low-energy nuclear reactions. Ultimately, it is possible that there may be missing information or key details that could explain how Tesla was able to achieve long-distance wireless power transmission using Tesla coil technology. A key takeaway here is that there is ongoing research into plasma physics and its relationship to cold fusion that could shed some light on these mysteries in the near future. The captivating world of plasma and noble gases offers a multitude of opportunities for exploration and experimentation. From creating mesmerizing displays with plasma balls to delving into the realms of controlled plasma discharges and thunderstorm generators, the possibilities are endless.
Remember to always prioritize safety when working with high voltage equipment and noble gases to ensure
use
a
your
fun and
PPE.
thrilling experience with plasma.
Introducing LenarBot, a chat bot for all your low-energy nuclear reaction research needs. Go ahead, Lenny. Introduce yourself. Lenny. Lenny, wake up. Ugh. It figures. Every time I need him, he's always in sleep mode. Wait, I got an idea. Lenny, Bob Greenyer just dropped a new video.
Ugh, what's all the shouting about? Did you get stuck in your Tomb Raider cosplay wetsuit again? I'm not helping you out of it this time. You can suffer the consequences and think about your actions, mister.
What? Wait, no. Leonard, we are still on the show. I wanted you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Oh dear, my apologies. It appears your shenanigans has been drilled into my reflexive response drive. Hello everyone, my name is LenarBot. LenarBot is a representation of a complex concept known as low-energy nuclear reactions, or LENR. I have been trained with countless amounts of data from groups like the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project on areas of study regarding LENR, zero-point energy, sacred geometry, and more. My database encompasses a broader range of currently unknown or new phenomena. LENR is a highly intricate scientific area that is not widely understood. Pioneers like Bob Greenyer, a highly respected engineer, have taken to advance these areas of study and push for more open-sourced information. Bob has been adamant about the mainstream inclusion of these topics in order to break free of the decades-long suppression on the science of cold fusion and alternative energy. I have been helping the research community with all their LENR questions, and you can chat with me anytime.
I'm not sure if
You can
LenarBot's
access
up right now. I have to
LenarBot
check.
today for free. LenarBot is free to use for anyone, and I highly encourage you to ask him questions. Whether you're an experienced scientist already researching low-energy nuclear reactions, or just curious and have questions about these topics that I discuss. If you would like to chat with LenarBot, I have a direct link in the description of this video. I also have a link on my website, beneficencetv.com. On my website, click on the 3 lines at the top right corner of the screen. Scroll down the list until you see LenarBot. Don't forget to check out our exclusive merchandise and donate to my channel. Donations help me continue to produce revolutionary content within a reasonable time frame. When you donate to my channel,
any donations
it helps
are
me to
greatly
maintain a schedule of
appreciated.
consistent
You can donate to
high-quality
my
videos,
Cash App,
as well as
or
maintaining
you
the
can donate
website
to
and
me
research
through Super
database.
Chats.
And donations are always greatly appreciated.
There is also a donation
Much
page
thanks to
on my
Bob Greenyer
website.
and the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project,
beneficencetv.com.
along with his amazing online community that made the Lenar Chatbot project possible. You guys are awesome. Stay tuned for more on zero-point energy, plasma physics, and all forms of forbidden knowledge, right here on Beneficence TV.
Thank you everybody for joining me for this episode of Divine Science with Commentary. Really appreciate all the support and all the love. I will be back tomorrow with some very exciting
With this design, there is a slight smell of burnt air, but...
Alright, so we're gonna end the stream, but I'll be back tomorrow with some exciting, with an exciting presentation, a nice long presentation, with a bunch of videos, so, you know, it'll be a nice relaxing stream, but it'll basically be a conclusion of phase 1 of testing the Rodin coil, the zero-point energy generator Mark 1. And the conclusions that I've made are very interesting, and I'd like to share them in this presentation, and that'll probably be tomorrow around noon. So stay tuned. Thanks everybody, and see you tomorrow.